The year was 1937. The place, New Orleans, Louisiana, America's grand cultural experiment. Into this eclectic center was born John Bernard Hotstream, son of John and Esther Hotstream. Affectionately called Little John by his doting parents, the boy would grow up in a family that would eventually number 9 rambunctious children. When Little John was in the 2nd grade at St. Francis de Sales, his teacher, Miss Florida, handed him something she called a mission box and sent him every school morning to his father's business, the Hotstream Grocery and Bar, to collect donations for the church. Each day, Little John endeavored to empty the store cash register into the mission box, and each day his father would quietly alter the transaction to a more reasonable bequest. Thus began John's lifelong imperative to give of oneself without limits. It was at St. Stanislaus in the 8th grade that John first responded to a vocation film, hinting he may be interested in becoming a brother. And so began his lifelong journey. 3 years in Daphne, Alabama, next graduating a juniorette from St. Joseph's in Metuchen, New Jersey. He then earned a Bachelor of Science degree in education at Spring Hill College, and finally a Master in English Literature at LSU. His early years of teaching were at St. Aloysius in New Orleans, closely watched by a tough drill master and good friend, Brother Gordian. His first classroom overlooked Rampart Street. Said Brother John about those early days, "We had nothing, but we had everything." Brother John also taught for a time at McGill Institute in Mobile, Alabama, where he was reminded by Brother Andre that he had volunteered for African missions in Uganda. Within 2 weeks, he set out for Africa, where he served the needy people there for 5 amazing years. This was, as he once said, the beginning of his real education. Upon returning to the States, Brother John enjoyed teaching assignments at Catholic High School in Baton Rouge and E.D. White in Thibodaux, Louisiana. It was there that he became advisor for the Key Club. As the popularity of the club grew under Brother John, the Redcoats would soon number over 100 members. While at E.D. White, Brother John tirelessly served the St. Louis Infants Home and the Thibodaux State School for the Handicapped.
I first met Brother John in 1976 when I started working at E.D. White Catholic High in Thibodaux. And Brother John was amazing. He was, first of all, he was everyone's favorite English teacher. There's still people who talk about what a great English teacher he was that had him 40 years ago.
In the late 1980s, Brother John found himself back at his old hallowed halls and taught writing and literature for several years at St. Stanislaus. Brother John often felt compelled to act as a father figure to many of his students. On weekends, he would often carry a gas lantern into the night to guide boarder students as they waded through the shallow waters of the bay, trying their best to gig the flat fish called flounder for a tasty meal. After his time at St. Stanislaus, Brother John embarked on a 19-year journey at St. Anne's Mission in Clegato, Arizona, assisting, teaching, and eventually learning from the great people of the Navajo Nation.
First of all, it's in the middle of nowhere. And of course, the first person we see when we get there is Brother John, and we were so glad to see him. And what I discovered over the next few days is that nothing had changed. It was still Brother John. He had just relocated.
I lived with him for about a year out on the Navajo Reservation in Clegato. And you never knew when he was going to be home or when he was going to leave during the middle of the night. Somebody knocked on the door, needed to go to the hospital or go someplace, he'd be up and take them.
And most people there had dirt floors, no electricity, no running water, and we were there for just a few days. Felt so good about what we had done, but we would be exhausted after 3 or 4 days, and that was Brother John's life, day in and day out. And everyone on the reservation, of course, knew Brother John. You know, he was holding AA meetings there at the mission, clothing distributions, food, toy distributions, vacation Bible schools, you name it, they had it going on. There was from daylight until darkness, they were always busy doing something.
After many proud years with the Navajo people, Brother John was called to teach once again at Edie White in Thibodaux, Louisiana, reading tests and quizzes to challenge students, tutoring at the St. Louis Children's Crisis Center, and leading Bible studies at the African American Church St. Luke's.
Well, John, I want to wish you well. I thank you for your services that you did, both in Africa, the times you're out there, what you've done with the Navajo Nation. We're very grateful. The brothers appreciate all that you have done, and I know for sure the people that received your help appreciate it very much and are very grateful for all that you have done. So thank you again.
I had the opportunity of working with Brother John on the Navajo Indian Reservation in Arizona at St. Anne's Mission for probably about 20 years. I think the thing that I love most about working with him is watching how he served the Navajo people, meeting their needs, meeting their physical needs and their spiritual needs, and creating those relationships that I know have been long-lasting.
Your family, students, the Navajo Friends, the Edie White family, the St. Louis Boys Home, key clubbers to the second generation, and your brothers of the Sacred Heart. Love and concern has been a way of life for you.
Brother John, first of all, I'm so excited for you for being a recipient of this award. It's very well deserved, and it's just recognition that so many know what I've been blessed to find out, which is that you're a true man of God. You live out the gospel each day. Someone has said it's better to see a sermon than to hear one, and to me you're a living sermon. And the fact that I can call you a friend and so many can call you a friend, you've been an inspiration to me and so many others. And so I just want to offer my heartfelt congratulations and my prayers that our friendship continues for many years to come.
Brother John modestly claims two blessings in life. First, his work with the Brothers of the Sacred Heart and their ministries to children. And second, a family that taught him the force of love in the world to do good things. Son of John and Esther, brother, teacher, and father to many, a lifelong man of service, today we honor, celebrate, and with great joy and gratitude induct to the St. Stanislaus Hall of Fame, Brother John Hotstream.